Good morning, Aquarius, and welcome to Hoodie Priestess Tarot. I'm Jodine, your host. We're going to do a tarot reading for you, and then we're going to finish up with an oracle card. But I'm going to do for you my version of the Celtic cross, which I call the Hoodie cross. And I've done it for a couple of readings now, so it's brand new, but I think it's working very well. And since we're in the week of the full moon, we're going to be using our darker deck, and this is a Rider-Waite-Smith deck. It's called the Nightfall deck. Okay, so let's get ready and do your Hoodie cross spread. Now we start with card 0, Aquarius, and that just sets the theme for what we're going to be dealing with in the reading. So for Aquarius, please, we're looking for the theme of the Aquarius Hoodie cross reading. And we have the Page of Cups. Okay, the Page of Cups has a message. Let's see what it is. And what is the message of the Page of Cups, please? The Sun. Oh, sweet, Aquarius. That's good. That's good. Let's see what comes of that. Let's see what aspect we're looking at in terms of the Sun. Or maybe you're having an interaction with a Leo. Well, we don't know, do we? Okay. For Aquarius, please, for Aquarius, one more shuffle. All right, now we'll draw the cards of the rest of your spread. Okay, so this card represents you, Aquarius, the Ten of Pentacles. And this is what's challenging you right now. Oh, the Tower. The Tower's been turning up in a lot of readings this week. And this is where you've been or where you're coming from. The Seven of Cups. And this is where you're headed or where you'd like to be headed. The Star. This is what you've mastered. The Hermit. Hey, I let that Star card flash really fast in front of the screen because it is a nude picture. Oh my goodness. Okay. So the Hermit is what you've mastered. Okay, this next card is what you're working on. The Five of Swords. Bum, 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 bum. So if you've been watching me for any amount of time at all, you know that my nickname for the Five of Swords is the asshole card. Okay, because that's usually what we're doing when we're engaged in the Five of Swords. Either we're being that way to somebody or somebody's being that way to us. Okay, so this is how you see yourself, Aquarius. The Eight of Pentacles. Now this is how other people see you. Death. That's sweet. And then the best thing that you hope for is the Six of Swords. And the worst thing that you fear is the Two of Pentacles. Now we're going to have 3 cards for the outcome, the possible outcome, and here they are. Temperance and the Fool. Wow, some big major arcana. And the Moon. That's crazy. Okay. So as far as major arcana, you've got the Hermit, you've got the Tower, you've got the Star. That's you, Aquarius. You've shown up in your own reading in the future spot. You are where you're headed to. And you've got Temperance, and you've got the Fool, and you've got the Moon. So as far as astrological signs or zodiac signs, the Sun is here. The Sun was up in the theme card. So what are we looking at? We're looking at Leo, Virgo, Sagittarius, Aquarius, and Pisces. So those are the zodiac signs that are showing up in your major arcana. So are any of those prominent in your life, or do you have any of those heavy in your chart? I don't know. It could be, but it doesn't have to be, okay? So that's what we're looking at. Now, what's on the bottom of the deck is the Five of Cups. All right? So Aquarius, those are the cards in your spread, and now we can talk about them. So for your theme card here, we've got a message from the Page of Cups, which is a heartfelt message. Okay, the page is coming to say something softly to you, all right? And it's a message about the sun. The message is the sun. So we're either talking about what's going to be our happiest life, happiest, most fruitful life, or something is being illuminated for us, okay? And the sun can be very intense. So it could be an intense message that's coming, but it's coming from someone who wants to be gentle. This page is gentle and loving, okay? So the message is coming from that mood or attitude or way of being. Excuse me, I've got a little... Why is that? Are you having trouble voicing something in your life? Is something getting stuck before it gets out? You need to say something, but you're having a hard time getting it out? Or your message is getting, there's distortion. The intended message is not ending up. It's not being received the way you intended it. I don't know. It's just something to think about. Anyway, here you are, Aquarius. This is you in the reading. It's the Ten of Pentacles. So you have experienced some form of prosperity. I don't know if it's a monetary prosperity. I don't know if it's prosperity in family, relationship, prosperity in health. You've had a job or a career that you've been happy with, but you are at the 10th degree of some prosperity. Now, 10 is a card of endings, and it's a time for changing, okay? Now, in this card, you can see that there are generations. There's an older generation down here in the front, and in the back, we have the younger generation. So something, either you could be in retirement and ready to pass on your knowledge or your goods or your legacy to the younger generations in your family. That could be on your mind. Or you could be a younger person who is receiving from the older generation. They're passing something on to you, or you are realizing what somebody has already passed on to you. You're taking a look at those treasures or those riches, okay? Or the gains of that experience that's being handed to you. So the 10 is a card of endings, and then we are thinking about the next thing that we do. We're ready to start a new cycle. Now, but what's challenging you is the Tower. I love this. So I think the last, I don't know how many readings, the Tower's been very prominent. So you're in good company. You might watch the Pisces reading, or you might watch the Sagittarius reading. Tower was very prominent there, and I don't know if you have a lot of Pisces or Sagittarius in your chart, or it could be that you're having relations with Pisces or Sagittarius. So it might be good to look at those readings. So anyway, here's the Tower, and that's what's challenging you. And of course, the Tower is the act of unexpectedly blowing up or getting rid of all the things in your life that are inauthentic, foundations that are weak or cracked, so things that aren't working and that aren't serving you and that aren't going to serve you in the future. So it is a time to like obliterate those things and start with a clean slate. And now if we look over here at the very end of your reading, where they have 3 cards of possibility, we see the Fool there. So that tells me in the beginning of the reading, we're blowing up something that has been, and at the end of the reading, it's just evidence of a new cycle beginning. Here's the very first card in Tarot, starting out on its journey. Okay, so where you have been in the past, where you're coming from, is being kind of a state of confusion, or maybe even delusion, or maybe overwhelm, because you had so many things to deal with that it was almost more than you could handle. Okay? Or you were in a state of having to make so many decisions and choices that you didn't know which way to go with things, or that you were just overwhelmed and kind of exhausted from it. But where you're heading to, this is the nudity card, so quick. It's the Star, all right? So where you're heading to is thinking about your long-term wishes. What are the things you've always wished for your life? You're shining a light on that now. Okay, you're in a period of thinking, we're going to start doing new things. Well, what are those things that we're going to do? Well, what have we always wanted to do? Let's illuminate it. Let's see what they are. Because what you've mastered is the ability to be a hermit, which means going within yourself and following your own light, which doesn't surprise me for Aquarius at all. Very independent people who follow the beat of their own drummer, or maybe the light of their own lamp, okay? So you've had time to really draw into yourself and soul search. Maybe it's even been a kind of dark night of the soul. I'm sure it'll be different for each of the zodiacs that are, or each of the Aquariuses that are listening, because you're not all the same. But what you're struggling with, what you're still trying to master, is maybe how to have disagreements. How do we deal with conflicts with other people in our lives? This is the thing you're working on. And hey, I want to point out to you that how you see yourself is somebody who's working on something. There's more to say about this, and we'll get to it. But here, the Five of Swords, the asshole card, bum, 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 bum. All right? How do we deal with times when we clash with other people? Are we allowing people to be in our lives who hurt us so much? Or are we learning to draw boundaries and to be more discerning about who our friends are and who we give our time to? If you're spending time with people who are very hurtful to you, look at the card off in the... Boy, there's a lot to say about this too. And I'll visit this card more than one time. Okay. But this is the River of Tears. 3 cards, 3 cups are spilled there. 2 still remain, so we're not at the end of the road by any means. There's more life. We're grieving, but once we're done crying, there's still more life to go. If we're permitting ourselves to have close relationships with people who are hurtful to us. Now, we all can disagree, but this is a card of being so sharp with each other that friendships are broken. So are we letting people into our lives who are hurting us very badly? In the future, we might learn to not get so close to those. We might learn to spot them coming down the road, right? I can see that coming a mile away, and just sort of head in another direction before we have to interact with it. But the other thing is, we might be a person who is hurtful. We might be a person who, in a disagreement, in an episode of not seeing eye to eye with a friend, we can become so sharp and so demanding that we're right, and so demanding that everything go our way all the time and that we win every fight, that we lose our friends. So it's a time to think about how we're going to have some mastery over that, because I think that comes up for all of us, especially fixed signs. And a fixed sign is Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, and Scorpio. So, and I'm Leo, and we can be very stubborn. We're the signs that don't like to change. And I think we can be very likely to say, hey, it's my way or the highway. I'm always right, and I'm not giving in until I win the fight. But if you're going to lose all your friends when you win the fight, then what did you really win? So it's a time to think about that. Also, I want to revisit this card again, and I want to also come back to the card that represents you in the reading. There may be a chance here that you, or a choice, or there may be a possibility here that I'm talking to Aquariuses who have lost the older generation in their life. Okay? This person, this older person in the forefront, has passed on now, because this would be the card of grieving for the dead. Now, it can be, you can be grieving all kinds of things, okay? You can be grieving because you've lost a good friend that you were fighting with, that you were fighting too hard. But I think I've already talked about that enough, so let's go on. You see yourself as a person who's working. Now, this could be literally at a job, or it could be working on things like this with our friends. It could be working through the grief that we're suffering because somebody has passed on. It could be working through going through a period in our life when we're going through some amount of upheaval because we're assessing all the things that don't work anymore. And this has become very clear to us. And sometimes those realizations are intense, okay? This can also be a card of patterns. So I want you to notice that the person working in this card has made very many pentacles until he's an expert or she's an expert at making pentacles. But in order to have gotten to that point, they have done it so repetitively. So this can be a card of also reminding you to look at patterns in your life that have been repeated and make an assessment of them. If you're engaged in patterns that are sabotaging you, it may be a time to blow those up and do something new. Okay, other people see you as death. Other people see you as somebody who's going through a profound change in their life. You are transforming. You are transforming on the outside. You are transforming on the inside. And other people are able to see that. Good for you. Go through your changes, Aquarius. So the best thing that you can think of is that you're going to move away to more peaceful times. If you've been in times of turbulence, chaos, upheaval with friends, all those things that make the emotions, the waters of our lives and our thought processes, because we're in swords here. We're in swords, but swords are floating in water. So we're talking about mental and emotional. But if there's mental and emotional turbulence and chaos in our life, then we jump in this boat and we move to more peaceful waters. That's what the Six of Swords is. So the best thing is for you to move to more peaceful waters. What's the worst thing? That you're going to keep juggling, that you're going to keep having a lot on your plate and having to balance it out in turbulent times. Look at the water there in the background, dear. There's some big waves going on in the background. Now, this is a person who is adept, who is an expert at keeping all those things going in times of chaos. But is that what you want to be? I don't think so. You're working on stuff, Aquarius. So what is the possible outcome here? We've got Sagittarius, we've got the Fool, and we've got this card of Pisces over here, the Moon card. And it looks to me like you are thinking about starting new with a clean slate. That's what you do after you blow everything up. You start new with a clean slate and you go on a new journey. And this time you want to have some more patience. You want to have some moderation. Maybe in your temper, maybe in the way you act with other people. You want to walk the middle ground. That's what this card is about. This card is about not going too far to one extreme and not going too far to the other. It's the middle way. You're walking the middle way. You are also protected by angelic forces. Somebody loves you, honey, and they're looking out for you. You got an angel, honey. It might be it's an angel from back here. Somebody's looking out for you, and they want the best for you because they love you so much. Also, I want you to see that this angel is pouring water from one cup to the other. It's alchemy. It's integration. It's taking all those hard lessons that we've learned in our lives, and it's making them part of our experience. It's not just trauma that we lived through. It's much more than that. It's now part of our wisdom base. It's a part of our toolbox. It's a part of our skill set. We own that. We own that trauma. We're not just hurt. We're fucking smarter because of it. And temperance is when you get to the point where you're not just walking around crying anymore. There's a time for walking around crying, and there's a time for owning that shit. And you're smarter because of it. So temperance is integration of life experience. We already talked about this. Going on with that toolbox, with those skills added to your toolbox. And what's this? This is a mystery. This could be dealing with things from your subconscious, using those tools to deal with the things in your shadow. This could be a relationship with a Cancer, or not a Cancer, a Pisces. I always want to give the moon to Cancer, but now recently I did research and found out the moon is actually Pisces. What's the matter with me? This could be about using your intuition. What is it deep in your gut that you know? Are red flags going up about? Are you meeting people who you can see right away are going to be the kind of people who treat you this way and leave you feeling like this? This can be a card of saying, oh, I got that feeling in my gut. Okay, I'm going to listen to it. Is this a card about knowing, like seeing your shadow and knowing when you're being that way and listening to your higher angels? This can be a card of, I'm a little afraid because I'm not sure what's in my future. That's okay. But remember about the fears of the moon card. It's like, at night it looks like a monster in the corner of your room, but when the sun comes up in the morning, you realize it's a pile of laundry on a chair. Okay? So sometimes what we're afraid of in the moonlight is a little more exaggerated than what it actually has to be. So keep all those things in mind. And I think that's the big message for you, Aquarius, from the tarot cards. Now let's look at your Akashic record oracle and see what we have. And I try not to let these readings go too long. If I can keep them under 20 minutes, I'm happy, but I certainly haven't done that. Now, okay, now this is for Aquarius. We want a nice oracle card for Aquarius. Good oracle cards and good advice for them. Thank you. Here we go. I'm looking at the clock, Aquarius, because I got to go to work this morning. We're early. It's early here. Caring connection. Aw, do you like dolphins? Yeah, we've been talking about angels watching over you and friends and loved ones and family a lot in this reading. So here's what it says. A new supportive relationship is on the horizon. It might be a kindred spirit or possibly even romance. It could be someone new or the deepening of an existing relationship. Open your heart to this new connection. That's good. You do that. But also, if your intuition is telling you that somebody's going to be a jerk, all right, Aquarius. Until we meet again, I love you. Take care and bye-bye.